This collaboration is to Goddesses from the Enchanted Goddess Creative Arts Collective here. I have Jennifer Harmon and Lucy Torres. Give them a hand. Lucy Torres is a writer, an artist based in New York City, and author of The Taste of Broken, an autobiographical poetry book on the illness that turned New York City turned NYC experimental art show.
Yeah.
Lucy is a LaGuardia Performing Arts Center Lab 101 Grantee. Wow. And has featured in the Inspired World Series, Queens Literary Festival, International Women's Artist Salon, and local project. Lucy is an unwavering women's rights activist. A fighter of self-love and an advocate for gender, racial ability, class, age, body, size, equality. You can find her at lucytorres.co and on Facebook. Next, we have the enchanting Jennifer Harmon Gersbeck. Jennifer Harmon Gersbeck grew up amongst the rose-colored deserts of New Mexico.
Oh,
yeah. But currently hops through puddles in her paisley galoshes down the sidewalks of Astoria. Woo! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Inspired by her late mother, Patty, she released her first book in 2016 entitled Celebrating Sound, which is a compilation of her mother's poetry and essays with her own. It is a truly beautiful book.
Yeah.
You must have any mother's daughters, I mean, forget about it. It's only 10 minutes. You know? She works at a hair salon for curly-haired folk. Donated that $100 gift certificate. She dyed her own locks pink for a year before trying red with orange bangs. She is now back to being a blonde bombshell. Carmen asked her about this unique nickname her mom gave her. She and her new husband have 3 cats. The 3, a meow goes. She's a Facebook page. Named Jupiter, Yoda, and Zach. Zach knows many secrets of the world, but no one ever asks him. So without further ado, let me present this artist collaboration performance with Jennifer Harmon Gersbeck and Lucy Torres.
Leotard in my dresser drawers for the past couple of years, and these pink ballerina slippers. Yeah. Let me see if I can put them on the right feet. You know, I was in ballet from kindergarten through 6th grade. As I put them on for the first time in so many years, I get to tell you about my freedom and my truth. It's so exciting to practice and get ready for the stage with you, my friend Lucy. Yes, I can't wait to go out there.
I know, I'm excited too.
All right, let's practice. It's deep down inside of me from long ago, not channeled at him, my dad, little Jenny, me, or God. Yes, of course it is. It's channeled at all of us. Rage blooms within me. Gotta see myself as well. Rage blooms within me. Okay, I'm I buried the anger in the desert. I did. I buried the anger in the desert and covered it with bright magenta flowered cactus, cutting my finger on the edge of the needles, labeled myself average, chubby, unorganized. I am mesmerizing.
Yeah! You know, it's interesting, Jen, that you say that, because when I was 3, I wanted to be a ballerina. And when I went to the school with my mom, they told me I was too fat to be a ballerina. And I didn't understand what it was to be fat at the time. Of course, I know very well now, but I understood that there was a limitation because something was wrong with my body. That was what was conveyed to me. And I think that's the first memory I have of not being accepted. I remember asking my mom, what's fat? Because I didn't know English at the time. And I know that she didn't say anything negative to me. I remember she took me home and we cooked something together and waited for my dad to come home. And I felt shame, but I didn't know what that meant, right? Because there was no expression as to what this fatness was. Then I was 5, and I had a crush on a boy, and I had just learned English. And he told me I was too fat and ugly, and my friend was skinny and pretty and tall. And I knew what fat was by then, because I had learned the word in those 2 years. So it's funny that you can have that. And so I decided for this show I was going to dress like a fucking dancer anyway. High five. So in preparation for this, I realized that there's a lot of anger there, but there's so much hurt as a child. And so trying to memorize these lines is impossible. So prepping this way makes it easier, right? Because we're facing our demons, and it's really fucking hard. So I'm not conventionally fetching, right? I don't aspire to be. I stopped caring a long time ago, but I'm not here to appeal your senses, right? I'm myself. What does that mean? I don't even know. I think I'm pretty rooted in myself, but this body of mine, right? I mean, it's been through the grinder of pain for about 10 years, and it's not conventionally approved. Even when I was thinner, I was miserable because I was so sick from endometriosis. And at the time, I didn't even know what endometriosis was. I just knew that I wanted to be this perfect thing. And there's been weight loss, weight gain, an excess of curves, an abundance of shape. But I'm not here to pleat to your pattern, right?
It is so powerful to do this for you. You know, growing up, I was angry about his infidelity, her blindness, my mom's blindness, what I couldn't control. Rage blooms within me. My eyes are a camouflage, golden green swirl, metallic. My eyes are a bathtub to wash in, swimming in acrylic war paint that I roll over and over, and I'm covered in tattoos that only I can see. I soak in faith to relax my sore muscles. There are no secrets. Take all of me.
I'm taking you.
And I'm taking you. I'm taking you.
You know, you say that, and I realize that we're not conventional in thought. I'm not conventional in thought. I mean, society has told me uncounted times, time and time again, that I'm different, that I'm too much and yet not enough somehow, simultaneously, that I'm an assault to the senses, but also not enough. And I just want to exist, but that's just somehow an assault to people. And I just realized I'm not here for your vitals, right? I'm not here to please you. So I've suffered from endometriosis for 10 years, and I had a pregnancy and a miscarriage. There was a lot of darkness after loss. And I've had painful surgeries that have changed my body. I've had countless iterations of my heart, time and time again. They're all end in raw breakage, right? And I realized that I can't memorize this stuff because it's in here, it's talking about it. So raw. There have been people who have been telling me disloyalties and dishonesties. They've been whispering in my ear, betrayal. And then there's this darkness of the soul that just fills the room, but it's the room of your life. It's a void. And there are scars that run deeper than skin and bones. And I just feel weary, and I feel tired, and I'm exhausted. And I feel like life has just served all of us in some capacity this uncooked dish of agony that can just overwhelm and break us to a point where we feel like we can't return. And I feel like my faith in humanity has been broken, if only for a little bit.
That's why we're on the same page here, because I get to get as close as I need to. I want to all the time and hold your hand and say, triumph is built on going there. We get to go there together. Rage blooms within me, and I am proud to make this grand announcement here. I knew he lied. I let him lie, and I covered up his lies by not saying a thing. Yeah. In high school, it's powerful to share these things. And, I remember eating extra meals before my parents got home from work. I would raid the fridge, eat full loaf of pound cake with butter, gone. They'd come home and I had sprayed air freshener and eaten like a whole frozen cordon bleu before we had dinner. At 30, I forgave him. In fact, I never stopped encouraging him to free himself. My dad walked me down the aisle. I'm 40 now, merging 12-year-old Jenny with my current self. We hold hands on the walk to the subway, and we explore the rage that blooms within us together. Why is it harder to let go of my life sentence? I vote to let myself off death row. You are free, Jennifer, innocent of the lawsuit you brought against yourself.
Yes. Free! You're free. And I feel like I'm still stitching little by little. It's like a stitch by stitch situation. And I feel like I'm picking up these jagged shards, right? Because the brokenness is everywhere. And I do it with wonder now, right? Because I embrace the brokenness. I embrace the fractures. And I do it with resiliency and resolve, perseverance and curiosity, because I'm learning and I will not stop learning.
Yes.
And I do it with anguish and grief, and that's okay. I'm giving myself permission to feel sadness.
Yes.
And these fragmented echoes of who I was and who I am and who I will be, they reflect the sinew of myself. I'm repairing and renewing, and I'm a tailor. I'm a tailor, and I'm adapting and adjusting. I'm stitching and weaving a new sense of self every single day into the tenacious fabric that is me. And it's a unique vestment that I wear every single day. And I want that for you too.
To be here together and to be honest and to look in the mirror and to say it all and to see it all, because every day is different. So some days we feel more whole than others. So I say also, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Right? Fuck you. Fuck you for hurting us.
Fuck you for taking away my innocence, for putting me in the position to carry your secrets alive, for choosing not to tell her about your deception, for damaging my views of my body and my own sexuality. I was fast back then. I'd go to the Royal Arena every week. I would race, and I was a winner, man. I was fast, sideways, slanted, faster moving. Sometimes I fell, sometimes I didn't fall, and I won. And then I remember in PE, I was like so fast. I was a sprinter, and then I fell, and I cut my leg, and they put the alcohol into it. And then I decided, fuck, I'm not going to stop running. I'm going to stop running. And anticipation was my favorite accessory. Anxiety was my favorite necklace, like my mom's beautiful turquoise necklace here from the 70s. I thought if I could predict the problems and the pain, I could predict them or prevent them from happening. I put a lot of energy into that. And after my parents' divorce, when I turned 22, it was hard. That was another death. It was hard for me to think of our family traditions lovingly. And I couldn't see him. I couldn't see my dad for a few years because all of the truth came out, and we got to talk about it. And he understood, and he was so sorry for my pain and despair. And I say thank you, Dad, for letting me be real and true, for not holding my frustration and anger against me. Thank you for never being away from me. We would share letters and emails and calls and during that time. And he always encouraged me to tell the truth in my art.
Yes.
So I say the biggest truth is us being free, is us to know, letting go of judgment of ourselves. And we get to know it doesn't end. I get to keep these conversations going with my parents every day and with myself.
Yes.
We're talking to ourselves.
Absolutely.
So I have to tell you, I celebrate my body. And I say, I move daily to circle hips, celebrate this body, this temple. Or cracked and dispose of it now. Use it when it's necessary. I carry the grief of the physical loss of my parents, but I continue these dialogues with them. I carry the grief in my cute Betsy Johnson purse with the yellow bow, and I tie my mom's polka dot scarf around my neck, and I dab our lipsticks, my assorted colors on my lips and cheeks. And guess what? I put the lid back on the lipstick. I remove my makeup at night. I brush my teeth. I make the bed, I go shopping, cook when you can. I take out the trash, I clean the litter box, I decorate the top of different surfaces. I behold the sparkle in my life, the sparkling earrings in my hand from Joan Rivers and my mom. And it takes time to care for yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So I say, honor the past poems, honor our truth, and then I put a pen next to my notebook in my bag, next to the pain and the grief, and it's not that heavy anymore.
Yeah.
It's really not. And, you know, maybe I put some gym clothes in there. Maybe I put some of my poems, you know, whatever I'm in the mood for. And I say, you ready for this?
Lay it on me.
I will love more easily, forgive more readily, listen quietly, and quietly hear my thoughts. On impulse, I will do and not wait to wish I'd done it. All things will not have thought before action. Unplanned, unworried, uncounted, unpacked, I will go. I will still cry and laugh and embrace and hide. I will. But without so looking back to judge myself. My power will come from me.
Yes!
It does feel like the world is only me and my reactions. And thank you, Mom, for teaching me to put myself out there. But still, we know.
We do know. Rage blooms within us.
It's true.
I have a lot of rage. Rage blooms within me.
Yes.
It blooms within you. It blooms within me, right? And I don't know how to be angry. So we're not taught how to be angry in our society, and culturally. We're allowed to be quiet. We're allowed to be hysterical. We're allowed to be all these negative things, but rage we don't know how to deal with. And so I sometimes see other people's rage and I say, you know what, that person's liberated, right?
Yes.
And there's been years of heartbreak and illness and an ever-changing body, this emotional labor that goes into being other, okay? It's this otherness that makes it so wearisome. I'm tired. I'm an insult to others because I'm round, but I'm also not round enough in certain circles because there's a fetish that's out there. So I don't meet the quota, or I meet too much of the quota, or I'm in between, or I'm not enough, or I'm too much, and I'm tired, right? Because this roundness is an insult because I simply exist. And I think that makes you feel so broken, that the rage doesn't even come out the right way. Because you know it's there, but you can't get it out. So this is what I'm saying. I want you guys to hear it.
Yes.
Herein lies the essence of me, what I know is to be true. Through the harshness of a cruel reality, that I'm strong enough to endure. Unwavering in the face of pain, disillusion, heartbreak, regardless of fear. The harshness of the heartbreak and health failures, I'm still here, okay? These challenges didn't strip me so much as they've given me the gift of discovery, the discovery of my resiliency, my tenacity, what could only be revealed through the obstacles that left the taste of broken in my mouth.
You know, just to drop into that is so powerful. And to say, look at us, we're ballet dancers.
Yeah, we put this out to the world.
Yeah,
Ballet
working.
dancers. Jennifer Dawn, Focus and Balance. I remember the yearly recitals and the costumes, and the practice on weekdays, and when I got to toe shoes, it was so painful standing up. And I remember I decided the discomfort of discipline was really challenging, so I decided to discontinue. And then pretty much the same thing in marching band with the clarinet. Goodbye preparation, hello lies about memorization, just saying I was going to do it and not doing it. And now I show up and I do it. And I was kidnapped at 12. I mean, really, that's what it felt like. I was held in a room, her freedom to make choices taken away. Still, a part of her escaped, flew, traveled, and shined. She grew, knowing the 12-year-old was still trapped inside. She drove her Geostorm, listening to I'm Just a Girl in the World, Weird Boys in the Desert, while the teenager let the girl stay locked indoors. She didn't seek out adults or run to get help.
She didn't.
She didn't. She kept going.
Well, it's interesting because I feel like I also locked a part of myself, but we always do that, right? And I feel like I'm always in situations where I feel like I have to explain myself, explain to people who are passive aggressive about things that have to do with my body that nobody really should be asking me about. And there are these inappropriate questions that are made simply because of my existence. These seemingly offhand condescending comments, right? Or BMI, you worried about your BMI? Really? That's what you're gonna ask me? Of course I'm worried about all these things, but I have these two conditions that make me gain weight, and I have to come to terms with that because I can't fight my body anymore, right? Because then that's the only war that I'm gonna rage against in this world. Like really, against myself, I'm gonna be my own enemy. And so it's no one's business whether I'm healthy or not, right? Being healthy does not make you less than or worthy. It doesn't make you more than or unworthy. The glorification of healthy living has been so indoctrinated into our society that everyone feels like they can judge openly because you're other. What is otherness anyway? I mean, I'm looking at everybody looks different. Are we all other then? Right? But society has taught me that hating myself is the way to be, right? That I should hate myself. Because thinness equals worthiness, it equals health, it equals beauty, it equals success, and it equals love.
We have to set the record straight.
I think we do.
And the story continues where she went to prom and got her tongue pierced. Her mother loved that one, yes. She graduated in journalism and moved from Las Cruces to Belen. She wrote about school board and city council. She talked to bands coming to Albuquerque. At 22, she sat down with her mom and told her the truth about her dad's lies. She packed her hanging bag in a suitcase with books and clothes to move to New York City. And all that time, the little girl was waiting in the in-room. And the day arrived when she rescued herself. She unlocked the door and let the girl out. And she knows she is capable. She is free. And I think both of us now, me and little Jenny, and we see gratitude everywhere. And togetherness.
And we are together.
Yes.
And this safe space, when we practice and we go through and we collaborate, made me realize that it's important to talk about something that I hadn't talked about openly. This is my first time talking about it, but it's important to talk about loss. And we as women continuously lose so much. There are no words to describe the loss that we feel. I think the dictionary is lacking in the sentiment that we feel. I suffered a miscarriage about 3 years ago, and I wasn't ready for a child. I love children, but I'd never aspired to that. And I feel like miscarriage is a type of heartbreak that can't be defined. It can't, there are no words for that type of loss. And what do you do when you miscarry a child you weren't ready for? What do you do when these different worlds start colliding and you really don't know how to navigate, but you're excited because you have this condition that has made you believe that you were going to be barren. And so, unbeknownst to me, I was pregnant at 33 with the love of my life at the time. And I was castigated by my ex-gynecologist now for having gotten pregnant because I was overweight, because I was on blood thinners, because I was on DBT, because I had a DBT and I was on blood thinners, and which is why I got pregnant to begin with, because they pulled me off the birth control pill, and you know, you can get pregnant off of it. Surprise. And that was hard, right? Because all around me, everybody is telling me that it's wrong clinically, but I was excited. I wasn't prepared for it, and I knew it was premature of us to do it, but I was deeply in love. And it's hard to talk about, but I think it's important because the day that I saw the word embarazada, it was in Chile, and I was there and I said, wow, this is Lucy Torres is pregnant. All right, like, not because I talk in third person, but because this is like the new chapter in my book. Lucy Torres is having a child. What am I going to do about this? And so I was very excited and I was very moved by it. And I cried and I was very, very sick. But when I went to my first sonogram, I was really excited. We were both really excited and we held hands, and the doctor told me that there was no child there anymore. It was a sac, but I had miscarried along the way, which would explain why I was so sick. And that was hard. That was really hard. I wasn't prepared for that. But it's taught me a lesson, right? Because the doctor told me that I would have to, I could just naturally miscarry the rest of my child, or they would have to perform some kind of surgery. And so a couple days later, I was in labor and I was delusional. And because I'm a tough chick, I thought, I can get through this. This is, you know, I'm in labor, but, you know, you're delusional, right? Because you're like, this isn't happening to me. How could this happen to me? I didn't even know I was going to be in this situation. And so I thought I could get through it. And my boss, who was a former nurse, told me, you're in a delusional state. You're in labor. Like, this is not okay. And I was like, I'll walk it off. And this goes to show that the states that we're in, it's not that we can't trust ourselves, it's just that we go through so much pain and trauma that we keep going. We say, I'm gonna get through this, even if it's not the best way, even if it's not the most logical, even if it's hormonal, even if it's delusional, even if it's hysterical, we process to move forward. And so I went there and I had this procedure that made me feel like my sanity left me with the remnants of this child that I so deeply loved. And unfortunately, everything after that kind of spiraled out of control, and I had no sense of self, and I didn't understand who I was. My body changed. I had this round belly, but it was a home for this child that was no longer there. And I have a condition that's supposed to make me barren, and so since then I look like I'm pregnant all the time, and so it's a constant reminder of this child that I housed. I was a home for a child that no longer exists. And that's okay. It's okay because we all go through that type of pain. Maybe not as a miscarriage. We lose our parents. We lose our children when they're older. We lose our grandparents. We have a sense of loss and grief. And there's no comfort in that. There's no comfort in anything that anybody could ever say.
That's why sometimes we feel like we're 72, and some days we feel like we're 12, and some days we're our current self, age.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like I can't climb the stairs out of sheer tiredness and
we have to say surrender. It's time to love ourselves and our bodies rather than fight or struggle.
I agree.
And embrace our fierceness and independence. So I kind of think we are sitting here in the discomfort.
We are. This is very uncomfortable. I think you can notice that.
But we embrace what we'll always have inside of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like, despite all of that, I'm still angry, right? But it's a good anger because I realize now the shape that I have is a result of all these circumstances. Whether I lose weight, I gain weight, I don't even fucking care anymore.
Yeah.
But we're allowed to take up space. We are all allowed to take up space. You are allowed to take up space. I wore this tutu, I'm allowed. Each day is a new discovery. Each day is.
Let's run our hands over our curves.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot. So you might be here for a while, but.
About ourselves. We get to keep finding more about ourselves that we love. Each one of us here. There's so many layers.
There are. Yes.
And
yes, there's so many layers to us. Just a simple conversation of this conversation that we're having leading up to this women's empowerment show. Well, let's forget our physical characteristics.
they don't matter.
They don't matter. Or their imperfections.
Yeah.
Or
But that doesn't mean we don't love the feel of our skin. Like again, this body
yes,
houses.
I love the feel of your
Yes.
skin.
And
I love the feel of my skin. I like the way your feel. This tutu feels amazing. Why can't we live in a sensory experience versus physical? Right? I see beauty here and it has nothing to do with your shell. You're listening and you're engaged and you're listening, you're witnessing what we're experiencing. Because this is real. We went off script like first page. So we just keep turning because it looks fake.
You're not broken.
Yes, you're not broken. You're not broken. Hold on. Let's get up. Let's all get up.
This is my third year doing the show, and I just feel like it's impacted my creative life in such a powerful way. Every year, it's amazing to be a part of this group of powerful women and queens, and I feel uplifted and like I can do anything. And each year, I feel more confident about myself and able to take on new parts of my art that I've had maybe ideas about, but the seeds are planted, and then I get to express myself in a whole new way. And it really carries out throughout the year. But even, after 3 years, I just feel like it's truly impacted my soul, my heart, and my creativity. This year, as I said, I feel more confident than I ever have before. I think it's really important to tell the truth and to share exactly where I am in my life. And being a part of this collective, I want to thank Joan for putting this all together because she means the world to me, and I've met so many new women artists through her and through being a part of this show and a part of our Queens Collective, female artists. And it's just, I feel so uplifted and like we can change the world. We have to share our stories. We have to share our poetry, our photography, our films. And at the same time, it's really fun. And I get to laugh and I also cry. And, I get to share my mom's words, mine, my dad's, my story. And it means the world to me.
I think what's really important is, as an artist, to have an outlet that's local and being able to express oneself with a safe space around common-minded artists who can produce quality work. So it's been so inspiring because this is my third year, and every single year I come back stronger, I come back more invigorated, and I come back even more of an activist and advocate for women's rights. And I want to thank Joan for that because I wouldn't have done it without her.